When you look back to your 5 years at IITM, did you go through any lows? Can you describe the low periods? How did you overcome them? Do you think a life coach would help? I'm a very optimistic person, so it's hard to think of lows. Um, I think I think I wouldn't call it a low, but there was a severe transformation in me between my second year and my third year in IIT. So I went from, like I said, a student doing 8.07, 7.9 to 9.3. And that was a huge transformation, purely speaking academically. I was doing a lot of extra curricular stuff, running my company and all of that things, but I was never focusing on academics. And then it did bother me though, it did bother me that, if I am, trying to impact the world and solve these problems, why can't I excel at learning at my university? And the most obvious conclusion for me became, what, everything that is taught in the university is kind of useless. It's not linked to the external world because I'm still doing a startup. I'm able to progress well there. And so even so, my engineering knowledge is not being useful. That was my preliminary assumption. And I was kind of getting disconnected to my academic courses. And I may have tread to a path, if not coached, I would say, where, probably my grades would have been very low and I would have just said, I don't really care and whatnot. I think my coach helped me understand a couple of things. So most importantly, it was that when I go out in the world, people are not going to just take my grades and talk about, hey, did you get the 9-pointer and 8-pointer because only 9-pointers are the smartest people in the world? No, that isn't the case. But he explained me that it's about sincerity. So people do look for dedication and commitment. And scoring grades in an engineering course is not just about being like learning the topic and understanding it to its depth, but also about the sincerity, the effort you put in to, because you're in an academic course, you are in a university, you are studying, and you went there to pass the engineering degree. And the second thing is, through my exposures, I also continued to develop a understanding of how science is applied in the industry. And the two topics, the topic from my coach and then this exposure connected. And it was like, okay, so if I learn about these things that I'm learning in my university from a lens of that, this is know-how that can help me create impact in the world, that's the right lens to look at it, rather than it just being some course and there are some papers to learn and then exam to finish and a grade to get. And that really helped me because I moved away from reading the notes and copying the notes from my friends to reading research papers. I think that was profound transformation in me. And it still continues to date and keeps me actually much ahead of other corporate peers that I have, because I read like 10 research papers every month. And that brought me really closer to science. It made me passionate about it. Research papers often have an abstract section and introduction section, which also connects the scientific problem to the real problem in the world. And I think if I don't say it's an emotional low, it was a confusion in my life that how is my academic world connecting to my real world. And I think post that second year, and that push from my coach to do better at my academics really helped bridge it all together. And today I'm really proud, that I actually did all those good things. In fact, I got a gold medal in my 4th year for the highest CGPA, highly unexpected from me. I didn't expect that from myself. And I have continued to appreciate that lens of developing the deeper knowledge through the learnings I did in my university through those years and that transformation.